In this lesson, we're going to look at some encryption methods, including symmetric encryption, asymmetric encryption, hybrid crypto systems, and ephemeral keys. Symmetric encryption uses the same key to encrypt and decrypt data. This is the simplest and oldest form of encryption. Let's look at how this works. Travis has a confidential file that he needs to send to Craig. To ensure that the file is sent safely, Travis encrypts the file using his secret symmetric encryption key and sends it to Craig. To open the file, Craig must use the same encryption key to decrypt the file. One of the biggest problems with symmetric encryption is that both parties must use the same key. If Travis and Craig send encrypted data often, they've probably set up this secret key in advance. But if not, Travis needs to let Craig know what the secret key is. Sending the key with the data defeats the purpose because if a hacker intercepts the message, they can decrypt the file. Imagine what a pain it would be to distribute the secret key if multiple people were to need access to it. Not only is this difficult to do, but the more people that have the key, the more likely it is for the key to be compromised. Symmetric encryption is very secure and works extremely well when you need to encrypt a large amount of data, because it requires less CPU power than asymmetric encryption. There are many symmetric key algorithms used, but some of the more common ones are Data Encryption Standard, Rivest Cipher, and Advanced Encryption Standard. The Advanced Encryption Standard, or AES, has, for the most part, replaced all other types of symmetric encryption. AES is a subset of the Rijndael block cipher. It was developed in 2001 during a competition run by the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST. AES offers 3 key lengths of 128, 192, or 256 bits. AES is used in all sorts of ways, including 802.11 communication, BitLocker, and even some game engines. Some other symmetric algorithms you may come across are Blowfish, IDEA, CAST, and Twofish. While these algorithms aren't used much anymore, you should at least know they exist. Asymmetric encryption makes use of 2 different keys, a public key and a private key. The public key is used to encrypt the data, and the private key is used to decrypt it. Since these keys mirror each other, the private key only decrypts data that was encrypted with the matching public key. Let's see this in action. Travis is sending his confidential file to Craig. To do that, Travis must first get Craig's public key. Travis then uses Craig's public key to encrypt the data, and the file is sent to Craig. When Craig gets the file, he uses his private key to decrypt it. Another reason for using asymmetric encryption is to create digital signatures. A digital signature is a method used to ensure that a received message or document hasn't been modified from the time it was signed. This is done by generating a unique hash of the message or document and encrypting it with the sender's private key. When the recipient receives the message, they can verify the digital signature to ensure that the data or message is legitimate. Since anyone can decrypt these messages or documents with the public key, digital certificates don't secure data. They simply verify that the data is legitimate and came from the proper source. Guaranteeing the data source in this way provides non-repudiation, or the ability to ensure that the document sender cannot deny sending the document. There are 4 main asymmetric encryption algorithms you need to be aware of. These are Diffie-Hellman, RSA, DSA, and ECC. Diffie-Hellman was the first widely used asymmetric algorithm. It was released in 1976 by Whitfield Diffie and Martin Hellman. This algorithm allows 2 parties who've never met to safely create a shared key over a public channel, such as the internet. We can see how this key is created using a choice of colors. For example, our 2 users each agree on a paint color, such as yellow. Each user then decides on a secret color to mix with their common color, creating a color they can share publicly. They send each other their results and then mix in their secret color. Each user ends up with the same new secret color. This new secret color, or key, is then used to encrypt and decrypt their messages. If a hacker were to intercept any of these messages without knowing each user's secret color, they wouldn't be able to reverse the process and figure out the final secret color. Diffie-Hellman is frequently implemented in security protocols such as TLS, IPsec, SSH, and more. In 1977, Ron Rivest, Adi Shamir, and Leonard Adelman released one of the first public key cryptosystems, which is known by the initial letters of the developers' surnames, RSA. RSA defined the process of using a public key to encrypt data and a secret key to decrypt it. RSA is still one of the most widely used algorithms for securing data transmissions and creating digital signatures. The Digital Signature Algorithm, or DSA, is a federal information processing standard for digital signatures. It was proposed in 1991 by NIST and became the government standard in 1993. It uses a different algorithm than RSA, but provides the same level of security. Elliptic curve cryptography, or ECC, is the latest encryption method. The algorithms used with this method can generate smaller keys that are just as secure as other methods. Many websites have adopted ECC to secure data being sent back and forth. Asymmetric encryption methods aren't very efficient because they rely on some complicated mathematical computations, but they do make it easier to exchange keys. In contrast, symmetric methods are efficient, but they become inconvenient when the time comes to get the keys out. A hybrid crypto system combines the efficiency of symmetric methods and the convenience of asymmetric methods. Let's see how it works. Travis needs to send a confidential file to Craig. Before doing so, Travis uses his symmetric private key to encrypt the data. Next, Travis encrypts the secret key using Craig's public key. The file is then sent to Craig. When Craig gets the message, he first uses his private key to decrypt the symmetric secret key, and then uses the symmetric key to decrypt the message. As long as Craig's private key is kept secret, the data is secure. Most secure communication methods, such as TLS, utilize a hybrid crypto system nowadays. Generally, when we establish a session and exchange keys, all communication during that session uses the same encryption keys. These are known as static keys. The problem is that the longer a key is used, the more susceptible it is to attack. To combat this, we use ephemeral keys. These are keys that are generated for each new session or transaction. Perfect forward secrecy makes use of ephemeral keys. Perfect forward secrecy and ephemeral keys are used quite often in instant messaging apps. Every message that's sent generates its own encryption key. It doesn't matter if a hacker intercepts any of the keys because the next message has a completely different one. The hacker is unable to eavesdrop on the entire conversation or session. That's it for this lesson. In this lesson, we first looked at symmetric encryption, which uses the same key to encrypt and decrypt data. We then looked at asymmetric encryption, which uses a public key and a private key to encrypt and decrypt data. We also covered hybrid crypto systems that combine the efficiency of symmetric methods and the convenience of asymmetric methods. Finally, we covered ephemeral keys. These are keys that are generated for each new session or transaction.